Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Discourse Chronicles at Speakspirations with the Boys. I'm sure that you guys know that it's always a dispensation of value upon value. If it is not value, it is not Speakspirations with the Boys.
Alright, on today's episode, we have Hezekiah Suleman, popularly known as HK, a growth and business development specialist, shaping the fintech. Jesus. Oh no. Okay, let me just start from this part. Today, on today's episode, we have with us Hezekiah Suleman, a business and growth specialist shaping the African blockchain and fintech space. Within the 5 years of experience across the blockchain protocols, he currently leads the African operation at Mercuryo, helping scale global fintech solutions. HK blends finance, tech, and strategy, currently holding a certification in accounting, blockchain, and decentralized finance, while also training in alternative dispute resolution. Join us as we share insights on innovation, growth, and building impact on African tech ecosystem. Welcome to the show, HK.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the introduction.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So, like we said earlier, welcome to the show. Welcome to Speakspirations with Boys. So, first off, can you introduce yourself? Like who HK is?
Okay. HK is who you are with at the moment. So I'm Hezekiah Suleman, also known as HK, and at the moment I lead Africa operations at Mercuryo, as you rightly said. Aside that, I also have an interest in alternative dispute resolution. Academically, I don't want to say career-wise, because career-wise I already in the fintech operations ecosystem. So academically, I interested in dispute resolution within the construction industry, given my background in quantity surveying. So that's just a bit about me.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Okay.
So how did your journey into blockchain and fintech space begin?
Okay, well, my journey into the blockchain and fintech ecosystem began in 2017, and I was very curious about how the financial ecosystem works, and definitely my motivation was, trying to should I say, be financially independent, right? So yeah, I was not just enough with the stipend I was getting from home and all of that. So that was the motivation for me. And I began reading online about money, history of money, and all of that. I just wanted to make money. I knew there were ways of making money. People were making money, right? Beyond the traditional means of, securing a 9-to-5 and all of that. So that was basically my motivation. And along the line, January 2017, I came across cryptocurrencies, right? So that was my very first exposure into the blockchain and fintech sector. I began researching what cryptocurrencies were about. I bought my first Bitcoin then. And basically that's just how it started for me.
So if I got you right,
Yes.
what pushed you into this industry? Was because you wanted to be financially
Independent, yes. Yes.
What was there any particular like your journey through like the fintech right from 2017 up to this point? What has it like your journey? What has it taught you? Like combining it with your academics because you're still in school. Like how has like combining everything? How has it taught you? What lesson have you learned?
Well, it has taught me like quite a whole lot. The very first lesson is consistency. So if you want to be a bad guy, be consistent at doing bad things, you'll become the greatest bad guy, right? So it's the same for good stuff as well, or anything you consider worth doing, right? So whatever you want to do, right, just it may not be excellent at the beginning, right? Strive for excellence, right? But it may not be where you want it to be at the very early or beginning stage, right? But with time, when you are consistent, somehow it's going to add up, right? So consistency is one very big lesson that I've learned. Yes, so far. Another thing is integrity, right? Just be a person of integrity. That's one thing that has helped me so far. There are people that perhaps I began, I think 2017 till now, it's about is it 8 or 9 years thereabouts, right? So it's been a long time coming, right? And there are people who we started this journey together, and somehow, due to, especially for reasons of non-integrity, right, they've been shoved out of the way, right? So integrity is one long-term trait that would take you far beyond where you want to be. So
if I get your point right,
yes,
integrity and
consistency, yes,
has been like the major lessons we've learned.
absolutely.
Alright, so you currently lead Africa operations at Mercuryo. What does this role involve on a typical day? Like, how would you explain yourself as this particular position?
Okay, so leading Africa operations at Mercuryo on a day-to-day basis is consists of a lot of research and interfacing with customers, that's companies, customers, both individuals and corporate clients, right? Because it's B2B2C, right? And so operations is literally the backbone of any company. You are literally directing what happens, or setting the foundation for the smooth running of the company. So you have to take customer feedbacks, monitor how the company is doing financially, right? Because it translates into turnover and revenue, right? So you need to, at every point in time, I have a mental picture of what is happening at the company, right? And I'm narrowing it down to Africa. So I have I have to do a lot of research, learn about what's happening in different African geos and corridors: Nigeria, Ghana, Benin Republic, Kenya, and the like. So that's basically how it is for me on a day-to-day.
Capacity, sir. Celebrate this.
All right, in your opinion,
Yeah.
what opportunity does Africa currently have in the blockchain and the fintech ecosystem?
Okay, yeah, Africa is literally one of the fastest growing ecosystems globally. Yesterday I was reading a report by YouGov that Africa has the largest number of stablecoin users globally, right? And there's a lot of opportunities in Africa. Have you ever wondered why a lot of foreign companies always have a presence in Africa, right? There's a very huge scramble going on for Africa at the moment. Every company, wants to do something in Africa, right? So people may sometimes think it's because of the natural resources. It's beyond natural resources, right? I mean, there is a lot going on with Africa, right, at the moment, and Africa is the next big thing to happen to the world. Africa is where the concentration of resources, not just mineral resources, but human resources, potentials lie, right? So Africa is really doing really great, and there's a lot of opportunities for everyone, right? Just get plugged in somewhere with consistency. Just being consistent at whatever you do, definitely there will be a headway, right? And yeah, that's just it. Yeah.
So, can you please highlight some misconceptions that people have about blockchain and fintech industry?
Okay, so I'll classify my misconceptions into good and bad.
Yeah.
So, the good part of, okay, let me begin with the bad. The bad is that, well, for some couple of persons, once they hear about blockchain, they think it's maybe just a random Ponzi scheme or a random scam venture and stuff. But blockchain, in its essence, is a technology, right? Just as every other technology. It's just like AI or VR, that virtual reality, or AR, augmented reality. It's just like any other technology, right? So the only difference is that it's an intangible technology. That means you cannot feel it, right? It's set of codes right? So everything exists virtually, right? So that's how the blockchain works, right? Um, so for the good part of it, blockchain is there has been over the years a lot of misconceptions about blockchain. Maybe people say it's used to facilitate criminal transactions, used to facilitate a lot of illegal stuff, but that's not true. Every transaction, in fact, the blockchain even offers should I say the easiest platform to track illegal transactions. Yes, it on the blockchain, especially on the public, there are different kinds of blockchains. I would not want to go into that, but the most common is a public blockchain. For instance, blockchains of Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, and the likes, right? So on the blockchain, it's public. You can just go to Etherscan, that's the explorer for Ethereum blockchain, etherscan.io, and you are able to track every single transaction that happened today, right? Your bank does not give you that privilege. You don't know who made a transaction at GT Bank today. If even if you walk into the banking hall, you can't tell the transaction that person made. But on the blockchain, you're able to see, okay, this person made a deposit, this person made a withdrawal on maybe SushiSwap or MetaMask. You're able to track those nitty-gritties, the exact time that happens, called timestamp, the date, every single detail about the transaction, metadata attached to it, and all of that. So that's one misconception. People sometimes think that transactions are not traceable on the blockchain, but it's not possible. Transactions are very much traceable.
I'm sorry to cut. I'm wondering why people don't know that you can actually track every transaction that you make in the blockchain.
Well, I'll say perhaps it's maybe people who have not practically used it, right? So if you've not practically used it, you could believe anything.
Sure.
People would always come up with conspiracy theories and all of that, but once you've practically made use of something, for instance, Obafemi Awolowo University, people can tell you a whole lot of stories about OAU. I believe perhaps before you came into OAU, a lot of people would have said different things, but what they have said does not compare with what you're experiencing at the moment. So that's basically how it is. Yes.
We are learning.
Yeah,
Learning new things every day.
Yes. All right. So transitioning into your learning journey, I can see from your bio that you have an accounting background and even certifications in accounting, in blockchain, and in DeFi. How have these certifications? How have they? What has the impact they've made in your career? What impact have these certifications made in your career?
Very, very much. Generally, I believe in learning on the go, right? And I believe learning is not tied to any platform or I can learn anything, right? In fact, one of my hobbies is learning new stuff. If I easily get bored of stuff, so if I'm learning something for too long, I'm bored of my quantity surveying degree. I just cannot wait to graduate. So if I'm learning something for too long, I get tired. I mean, it should not be too long to learn some stuff. So I believe in learning on the go, right? So I pick up random certifications, and all of that. But for what's it called, my AAT certification, it's basically a certification issued by that's by ICANN. I did not have any background in accounting, so to say, so I saw it as a platform where I could just learn a little bit about finance, accounting, things like that. So that's basically it for me. Then on the part of DeFi, right, I'm a certified DeFi expert. DeFi just means decentralized finance, right? So there was a time that decentralized finance was like one of the very big buzzwords in the Web3 ecosystem. So basically just means it just helps you understand what decentralization in finance is all about, right? So
feel like from day one you would have just picked an accountant.
Well, I'm not a fan of accounting. Well, it's actually I did the AAT, and I'm looking to also do the ACA. Yes, yeah. But I'm doing it as a means to an end, right? I'm actually interested in joining Chartered Institute of Stockbrokers. Yeah, so that's my interest. So
like this is
it's just a means to an end. Yeah.
All right, reading from your bio, I can see that you are also trained in alternative dispute resolution, and placing it side by side with blockchain, they are two different things. So what actually inspired this along the fintech path that you chose to travel?
Okay, disputes occur everywhere, whether on the blockchain or off the blockchain, but that's by the way. But my training in alternative dispute resolution is primarily in line with my course of study. Yeah, so it's in line with quantity surveying. So quantity surveying is a course that entails costing construction work basically. So if you want to obtain the cost, for instance, of this studio, a quantity surveying professional does that for you, or the cost of setting up this building from foundation to superstructure level, right? So the quantity surveying professional does costing basically of construction product or whatsoever, right? So disputes occur in the process of costing, right? Sometimes we refer to it as arbitration, right? So alternative dispute resolution is basically about other means of resolving disputes aside litigation. That means going to a court of law, right? So and ADR is actually a very nice profession to combine with quantity surveying, because a lot of disputes arise between companies, between contractors, clients on a daily basis, and ADR is one of the means through which those disputes are resolved. So that was my motivation for, yeah.
I like the fact that you're able to. It's a long-term thinking.
Yeah, it's long-term. Yeah, I may not need it now,
Yes,
but I mean,
yes. It's a long-term thinking.
yeah.
Alright, so with your experience in B2B and B2C marketing, what does it take to successfully scale a blockchain product?
What does it take to successfully scale a blockchain product? Number one, you need money. But that aside, right, B2B is brand to brand, brand to consumer. So if I am the brand, I'm trying to reach out to another brand. First thing, you need to understand what that other brand needs, right? You cannot reach out to somebody that does not need something from you.
Sure.
Right, so what does the brand need? If you're reaching out to a consumer or a client, as the case may be, what does your client need? Right, you cannot just pick up a product and take it out on the street without a target market. You need to have a target market that, okay, I want to sell ring lights to ladies on TikTok. Those are your target market, right? So that's basically how it works. Yeah.
So that's like, okay, if I can pick the point,
Yes.
you just said that,
Yes.
having like a targeted audience.
Yes.
One of the things that like make a successful blockchain
Product. There are also a couple of other things. Build a quality product.
Okay.
Yes. A quality product would always sell. Right, a quality product would always sell. It may not sell in the short term, but long term, people would always go for quality. Right, so if your product is quality, it gives you a superior edge over other products in the market. Right, so quality.
Sorry to cut. Some people
Yes.
even mind paying for the quality.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people do not mind, but most times you have to locate those set of people.
Yeah.
Right, that's where marketing comes in. Right, so marketing is very, very broad. In fact, it's one of the broadest sectors in the world, because marketing just deals with putting your product out there, not just out there, but strategically. Thank you. So marketing has a lot to do. The Premier League is popular because of marketing, there are other leagues. There is the Saudi league, there is the Spanish La Liga, in football now. Yeah, do you guys watch football? Not so much, yeah. Okay, so but the Premier League is the most popular. Why? Marketing, branding, right? So there's a way people perceive you. It's called perceived value, right? So so that's basic. That's what marketing does. Marketing gives perceived value. How do people perceive a product, or even your persona, right? Or things basically around what you do. So that's primarily. So have a target audience if you want to put your product out there. Not just blockchain, it applies to every other aspect. Yeah. So have a target audience. You can't sell to everybody.
Sure.
Yeah. So you need to have a target market, and that could be classified based on a lot of factors, age, a lot of stuff. What appeals to 25-year-olds will not be the same thing that appeals to a 7-year-old or a 60-year-old person, right? So if you're selling eggs, for instance, crate of eggs, the best place to sell it is maybe a place like campus where there are a lot of young people, right? But you can't sell eggs to old people. Most old people do not consume eggs any longer because it's no longer beneficial for their health. Yeah. So those are things you consider. Yeah. So it works the same way too in scaling blockchain products. Yeah.
Okay. Alright. So to those that are planning to go into the blockchain or even different sector, just follow this tip, have a targeted audience and consistency, and also
Yeah.
just follow the footsteps that you have already analyzed for us. I am moving to the next question.
Okay, like what? Picking it up from this question, what
Yeah.
other advice will you give to young people out there?
Okay. All that advice.
Yeah,
Going
people want to go
into
into fintech. Or
Yeah,
banking,
fintech.
Something
Okay.
is just limiting them. Probably misconceptions, like you said.
Okay.
Even lack of experience.
Yeah.
They don't have an experience. They don't have what it takes to actually go into.
Yeah. Okay. I would first of all say, everything is just believe. First of all, believe in yourself. This is not some random motivational talk, right? So believe. Personally, one thing that has helped me is that I believe I can do anything. Yes, and the Bible even tells us so, right? Is it Philippians 4:13,
Yeah.
right? I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me, right? So I can. That's one thing that has worked for me. It's not buzzword. Just believe you can do anything, right? I believe I can work at the biggest companies in the world. Not because I necessarily have those qualifications now, right? But I have that strong faith in myself. So it's very important. I would share a little quote from somebody I admire so much. That's Warren Buffett. So I was reading a post from Warren Buffett at some point, and in that post he said he has never doubted that he was going to be rich. He has never doubted that he was going to be rich. Not necessarily because he was from a well-to-do family or any of that, but there's this kind of self-belief you have in yourself that you know that things are always going to work out. So don't live with any iota of doubt, especially as a young person. As a young person, you have a lot to try out. You have don't let anything limit you. Not what people have said, not what people are even saying, right? Not what your background looks like, right? So you can always be where you want to be, right? So I've read, I really, growing up, I really admired Ben Carson, right? Dr. Ben Carson, and he's like one of my major big inspirations. In fact, because of him, I wanted to become a medical doctor at some point, but chemistry was not my friend. So, so I had to go into physical sciences instead, right? So, but that's basically just it. So have that very firm self-belief, and like I said, I also want to reiterate integrity. Be a person of integrity. It's very important. even a thief is looking for an honest person to manage his finance. So so that's basically be a person. It would pay you in the short term. It may not pay. It may look like the bad guys are the one winning and all of that, right? But for instance, before I started working at this my company, when you, and most other companies are adopting that pattern as well. Gone are the days where you just have an interview and maybe the interview was excellent and they just employ you and all of that. These days they will run background checks on you. They run criminal checks, right? So they have to, like, they'll run a criminal check to see if, okay, has this in fact, before anything, they'll first of all run a Google search. If you've been convicted by the EFCC before, your name will pop up there, right? So it pays to be a person of integrity. Most fraudsters, right, cannot work in some of these companies, right? Because just a simple Google search shows that, oh, you've been involved in some shady stuff and all of that. So it's very, very important to believe in yourself, have integrity, then network with people. Nobody's an island, right? So connect with a lot of people as possible, especially as a young person. Connect with people. People are the engine for growth, for personal growth, right? So connect with a lot of people, learn from them, whether they are younger, older, or they are your peers, right? Learn as much as possible. So that's just what I'll say.
Before I don't want to cut because the next question I want to ask is still somewhat related. So what's one mindset that helped you grow professionally?
Mindset, I think it's still all linked together with what I've been saying. So mindset is I just believe I can do anything.
That strong belief.
Just that strong belief in myself. I can pick up a course and study for it and write the exam, right? I just have that like very strong belief in myself. So that's like one mindset that has helped me as well. Then connecting with people too has like helped me, quite a lot too. I don't have a lot of friends, but I have quality friends, right? So that's really been beneficial to me. So
Okay. So moving on to light questions. If you were not working in tech, what career do you think you would have pursued?
If I wasn't in tech, okay, initially, well, growing up as a child, I wanted to do one and a million things, right? So I think in primary 3, I wanted to be a lawyer.
I'm trying to connect the dots.
The dots, right?
Right now.
So I wanted to be a lawyer, and I think that's in primary 3. And that was when I started learning about career. And I mean, your teachers will just expose you, tell you, oh, you can be a lawyer, you can be a doctor, you can be this, you can be that. And sometimes they will even ask you in class, so what do you want to be? So I think then I used to say I want to be a lawyer and stuff. So later on, I got very fascinated by electrical and electronic components. So I used to fix stuff. I just loved dismantling and fixing stuff. My dad's radio, once they get bad, I'll try to see what I can do. Sometimes I get it fixed, sometimes I destroy it even further, right? So that was just about, generally I was a very curious person, and curiosity too is very important, right, in growth. Just be very curious, let your mind be open, don't be rigid in thinking, right? Be very curious. People that are rigid in thinking do not really go far. Be very curious, learn about what other people are doing, be open to exploring opportunities, right? Before I started working for instance, I was mainly into marketing and business development before, but now I'm working in operations, right? So it's still the same flexibility that has made me work in operations. if I was very too focused, or should I say too rigid, in just wanting to work in marketing and business development, perhaps the opportunity to work in operations would not have opened up, right? So it's one thing I think it's a very good trait to imbibe, curiosity. So back to my story of what led me into this. So I wanted to be a lawyer and like that. Having checked out what's it called, electronic components, so I got more interested in electrical electronics engineering. My dad told me about electrical electronics engineering, so that was how we all started out. So I wanted to study electrical electronics engineering in the university. Somehow I found myself in quantity surveying. Yes. It's an amazing course. Yeah, all courses are cool, right? So all courses are cool actually.
All right. So are you the type that plans everything down, or sometimes you just go with the flow as it comes?
Yeah, sometimes I go, like you said, sometimes, yeah, but I plan as well, right? Because planning is very important, but there's a limit to how far you can plan, right? And sometimes you can plan maybe the next 1-2 years. It's good to have a long-term plan, right? So it's very important to have a long-term plan, right? For instance, I do not plan to, perhaps the company I'm working at the moment, I can't be there forever, right? So I have a long-term plan of perhaps working somewhere else later on, right? So it's good to have. So I have those kind of long-term plans, and sometimes too spontaneously, maybe especially for short-term stuff, right? Some things could disrupt, your short-term plans, and then you have to switch to something else. But when it switches, somebody said, what determines growth, basically, generally in life, is your ability to quickly adapt to spontaneous changes that occur. Because trust me, there are going to be a lot of spontaneous changes, in life. Yes, in life, there's going to be a lot of spontaneity, right? So you have to just train yourself to be able to adapt to eventualities that might occur along the way. So,
all right, thank you so much. So, in wrapping up,
wrapping up, what's one piece of advice that you wish you had learned earlier in your career? So, like, as you are telling us this, you're also advising people that want to go into the blockchain industry, for them not to make that same mistake.
Okay, piece of advice that I wish I had learned earlier. Well, I would say, to be fair, I really can't say. Yeah, I really can't say, but I'll just say maybe reading more books. Adekunle Gold posted last year that I wish I'm quoting him now, he said, I wish I had discovered books more earlier in life. Alright, so read a lot of books as much as you can, especially if you're in a country. I don't want to call Nigeria a third world country, right? But I mean, that's where the classification stands, right? Although Nigeria is one of the countries that has a lot of potentials. In the next 15 to 20 years, Nigeria should be a world power. In the next 15 to 20 years, Nigeria should be a world power. That's what I believe. And there are already systems in place that can activate that. We just need a very strong leadership, right? So that's what I believe. So, but growing up in this part of the world, we do not really have a lot of exposure into how an ideal life should be, right? When you travel out of Nigeria, you discover a lot of things. Things that we see as normal and in Nigeria are like completely abnormal. For instance, power outage. I was in Ghana in October, and throughout my stay, there was no power outage. And it's like normal, like why should power go off, right? It's normal, right? So aside that, there are a lot of other things like that, right? So, but what gives you an insight into how ideal lives should be like, or how ideal life should be like, is books. When you read books, you gain insight into people's experiences, gain insight into what life should be like ideally. So early in January, I finished reading Making It Big by Femi Otedola, right? And it's really an amazing book. I'm not what's it called? I'm not trying to promote the book. I'm just saying, from my experience, but because a lot of people were like, okay, why should the rich man write a book and all of that? Well, that's so. But I mean, reading that book gave me a lot of insight, exposure into what it feels like. I'm not a billionaire yet, but at least I have some insight from his experiences into what it looks like, kind of, things he does on a daily and stuff like that. So reading books are really, really a great portal, and I would recommend it to anybody that as early as you can, just start reading books. Very important.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Thank you.
So that was a deep and insightful conversation right there. I'm sure that you've learned a lot. For people who want to go into blockchain and fintech industry, there are so many insights. Yeah, generally, there are so many insights from this conversation that I'm sure that you must have picked. Thank you so much for staying tuned, and do not forget to follow and subscribe to our YouTube channel. See you guys in our next episode.
Bye.
Bye.